Okay, we're back for Lab 4, texture analysis and dysphagia, which links for technology in terms of texture analysis to issues around dysphagia, which obviously is important for areas such as dietetics. Okay, so a quick reminder of the main IDSI framework. Main purpose of this experiment is to examine changes in texture of meals for dysphagia cooked in different ways and over time. A potentially quite important issue. We may not do this method, we may do the spoon test method, and those interested should click on this video here. Look at the channel information for a range of other useful information on the IDSI flow methods, including how to do the test for solid foods, which we'll probably do in the lab. Review this material before the labs. Again, some general background and a video on the IDSI levels, of particular interest to students, again, interested in dietetics. Right, okay, so tests on prepared texture-modified meals. Just some background on the technical definitions if you're interested, should you need to reference them. As we've noticed when we've done this experiment before, there are issues in production and distribution of hospital food for patients with swallowing difficulties. Hospitals are large organisations. They don't have proper kitchens. They have microwaves. So there's various links there. Links to YouTube videos, niches issues, and links to Punjab Kitchens, one of the main suppliers of these materials. The actual experiment. Here's an example of a meal, which in this case is specified as IDSI level 4. And should all its components at that level, and this should not change over a reasonable period of time or because of a different cooking method. So the experimental method is straightforward. We're going to have meals cooked in different ways, some microwave, some cooked in an oven, and the experiment starts when the meals of cooking is completed. We need to check the temperatures of the probe in case we want to taste them. Obviously it must be over 75 degrees for safety. And we note the time at the completion of cooking. Each group will work with a single meal in its components, so it'll be shepherd's pie and 2 veg there at a particular IDSI level, for example. The experimental method summarised will be walked through by the technicians and the other support staff as usual. We're going to be measuring adhesiveness, which, as we've discussed before, is a key component in swallowing. Replicate measures 3 times if possible. That may depend a bit on the amount of sample, but you should be fine with that, I think. Should be plenty for everything. You will need to take a note of the conditions of meal you're analysing, cooking method, and time after cooking for each analysis. Very important, obviously. As usual, Excel will be used, and I'll discuss this in a moment in this video. Download a copy of the file for your group. As I'll explain shortly, you can record the results in a printable form or just enter them directly in the spreadsheet if you've got a laptop with you. As usual, the spreadsheet will carry out some analysis. It will produce some graphs, bar charts of basic results, and box and whisker plots to show variability for measurements of the individual meal components. So we're going to get lots of results. Each group will have their individual results, but how we'll consolidate them to draw out overall conclusions. Think about this before the lab, and towards the end of the session, get together with the staff who are running the session to discuss possible approaches. Right, okay, so that's all for the presentation. So we'll move on to the spreadsheet. Right, so the spreadsheet, as usual, has a number of different tabs. There's a form which here you can print out. Just go to print, it's already set up to print out the form as it is, so you'll print this out for your form if you need to, or you can put them directly into the blank form. The blank form includes the name of the meal, the IDSI level, cooking method, and the time after cook when you do a particular analysis, so you're probably going to need a number of these. I've said they're condition 1, so that could be after 15 minutes. Condition 2 could be after 30 minutes, for example. You may need to replicate this spreadsheet to get the information. Now we'll notice here I've got some examples in here which you'll need to remove. So in this case it was beef, carrots, peas and potatoes. Now you have to put in the name of each component 3 times. So you could put in beef1, beef2, beef3, for example. If you don't, the box and whisker plot won't work properly. It's just the way box and whisker plots work in Excel. So there's where you're going to enter the results. Some example results here, which are taken from a previous year. So again, these are the conditions: name of meal, IDSI level, how it was cooked, and time after cooking. So down here we've got time after cooking has gone up to 30. As I mentioned, you need to put the component names in 3 times to allow the box and whisker plot to work. It'll do averages, and from the average it'll produce these bar charts, and then from the basic information over here it'll do some box and whisker plots to show us the variability of the different components. So in this case, the texture of the texture as measured by addition of carrots was very much a big variable, particularly compared to the others. Right, okay, so that sums up all I want to say about that. Hope you enjoy the lab.